All right. Today we've got a little 15-minute session for opening up the spine and the shoulders and the neck. So we'll be on the ground quite a bit today, doing a bunch of work on the ground, the hands and knees. So if you need a blanket or anything like that for a little more support and cushion under your knees, definitely would recommend that. But let's get started. So we're going to start today coming into a child's pose. So our knees are going to be out wide, toes are in together, and then draw the seat down towards your heels as you bring the arms out long in front of you, and then the forehead comes down to the mat. Let's take an inhale in through the nose. Exhale out. Nice deep inhale in and exhale out. So now with your hands, you're going to walk them maybe about an inch back, and then move your forearms and your shoulders back. And on your next inhale, you're going to press the hands into the floor. And as you exhale, press the hands away from you, pushing the seat back towards your heels, maybe a little bit more. Nice deep inhale in once you've arrived, and exhale out. Just walk the hands in just a little bit further, bringing them closer to the top of your head. Take an inhale to engage the body, pressing the hands into the floor. As you exhale, push the floor away, pushing the seat down towards the heels, maybe a little bit more. And let everything relax. Nice deep inhale in. And exhale out. And bring the forehead off the mat and start to walk your hands back towards your feet till they're about a handprint or two in front of you, wherever you have a nice long spine here, and your arms are straight and long. And so from here, we're going to do a little bit of shoulder blade work to start. So these are called CARs, controlled articular rotations. So we're sort of locking in the rest of our body so that we're isolating just the shoulder blade movements here. So if you'll see here, you'll see just my shoulder blades going up and just the shoulder blades going down. So press into the floor with your hands here. Take a nice deep inhale in. Once you've got a nice long spine, and then exhale out. So now we're going to do just some shoulder blade work here. So on our inhale, we're going to lift the shoulders up towards our ears as high as you can. Try not to move anything else. Keep the tummy engaged. And then pull the shoulder blades together so the torso goes towards the mat, keeping the shoulders up towards the ears. And now keep the shoulder blades together as you start to draw them down your back. As far as you can, keeping them together, keeping the rest of the body still. Push the shoulder blades apart from each other, keeping it down the back. And now keeping the shoulder blades away from each other, lift the shoulders up towards the ears as high as you can. Keeping them up at your ears, pull the shoulder blades together, really cinching them in. And then pull the shoulder blades down the back as the shoulder blades are together. And then draw the shoulder blades apart as you push the floor away, keeping the shoulder blades as far down the back as you can. Draw them up towards your ears. And then relax. Let's engage again, and then we're going to go the other direction with it. So come back to a neutral spine here. Take an inhale in. And as you exhale, you're going to draw the shoulder blades down the back. And then draw the shoulder blades together down as they're down the back. Then keeping them together, bring them up the spine. Keep them up by your ears. And then push your hands away, drawing the shoulder blades away from each other. Draw the shoulder blades down the back as you keep them away from each other. Pull them together once they're down at the bottom. Then draw them up towards your ears. And then relax. So now we're going to walk our hands back maybe just a little bit more, bringing the torso up a little bit. If you want to shake out the wrists a little bit in between these exercises here, that's totally fine. And so we're going to lock in. We're going to do the upper back first. Yeah, let's do the upper back first. So we're going to keep the low back nice and steady here. So yeah, I think actually we want our hands just like right in front of our knees here. So keep the low back nice and steady and engaged. And we're going to start by pushing the floor away, drawing the shoulder blades away from each other and rounding your upper back. And then tucking the chin in is the last thing that happens. And now let your chin come up and lift the head up as you start to draw the shoulder blades in towards each other, drawing the shoulder heads away from each other. Round the shoulder heads in towards each other as you tuck your chin in, trying to keep that low back nice and still. We're isolating just the movement of the upper back, drawing the shoulder blades together, lifting the chin up. Tuck that chin in and then start to round the upper back and then tuck the chin in more as you round into the upper back. And then keeping that low belly nice and engaged, draw the shoulder blades together. And then your chin will follow as you start to lift your head up. Tuck the chin in, push the floor away from you. And then round at the upper back only, keeping the low back nice and still here. Lift the head up and then start to draw the shoulder blades together. And finally, the gaze goes towards the ceiling. And you're free to do as many of those as you want to here. Just try to keep that low back nice and steady here. Trying to focus just on doing the upper back stuff. All right. So let's come back and roll out the wrists a little bit more. That's a lot of time on those. And then we're going to walk our hands forward just a tad and bring the seat up just a bit. So we're not in a full tabletop position here, but the seat's kind of about halfway up and our hands will be underneath our shoulders here. So now we're going to isolate the low back movement here. So we're going to tuck the tailbone in and then just lift the tailbone up towards the sky, letting the belly drop towards the mat. Tuck the tailbone in, keeping the upper back nice and still. And then tuck it up. Tuck the tailbone in, rounding the low back, but once you get to the mid back, you can stop rounding. And then drop the belly down as you start to arch the low back and then lift the tailbone up towards the sky. Rounding the spine, tucking the tailbone in, and then lift it towards the sky. Again, you can do as many of these as you want. We're just going to do a couple more here. So taking your entire inhale really to roll down and up that low back area, that lumbar spine area. Once you get to the end too, really make the effort to go as far as you can into either a arching of the low back or rounding. Really try to tuck it in as far as you can or lift it up as far as you can. Let's do one last one together. Then we're going to bring the seat back down towards the heels. Walk the hands about, so there's about a half print or handprint or half a handprint there. And this time we're going to keep the shoulders nice and still here. And we're going to do some mid-back movements. So try to keep the shoulder blades where they're at here, a nice neutral spine, nice neutral position, so that we're not going to be drawing the shoulder blades in and out together like we were before. Just keep them where they're at. And now try to lift the back of the middle back, lift your mid back behind you. And then try to draw the lower ribs down towards the floor. This section of the back is where a lot of people have the least amount of mobility. So if you see very micro movements here, that's totally fine. So we're gonna, again, keep those shoulder blades where they are, keeping the hands engaged, drawing the low ribs in front of you down towards the mat, then push them away, rounding at the mid-back area. Pull your hands towards you as you draw the lower ribs towards the mat, keeping the shoulder blades where they're at, and then push your torso, your mid-torso back behind you, rounding in that mid-spine. A couple more on your own breath rounds here. Using your hands to help you out here. So when you're drawing your ribs towards the mat, traction back with your hands, but keep the shoulder blades where they're at. And then push the hands away, engaging the hands and the arms as you push the chest behind you. All right, so again, that's another one you can do as much as you want on your own. Essentially, it's cat-cow. It's just segmented on different parts of the spine. So speaking of, let's make our way to a cat-cow. If you need to sort of roll out your hands or do anything like that. We've been in flexion of the hands quite a bit here, so shake them out, roll them out, whatever you need to in between these here. So we're in our tabletop position here. And we're gonna go up the entire back this time. So we're gonna start at our, tailbone here. And first, we're gonna engage the body and try to move just one vertebrae at a time. Let's take an inhale in, exhale out. Lift the tailbone up first, and then you start to drop the belly as you arch the low back. And then the mid back starts to arch, upper back starts to arch, and then finally you lift your chin up towards the sky. Then keep the chin up, and we're going to start at the tailbone, rounding back. So tuck the tailbone in, keeping that chin lifted. All right, round the low back, and then round the mid back, and then round the upper back, and then finally tuck the chin. And then this time we're going to start at the head. So lift the head up first, and then arch the upper back, bringing the chest towards the floor, and then the ribs towards the floor, and then the low belly towards the floor, and finally your tailbone comes up towards the sky. And then tuck the chin in, press the floor away as you arch the upper back, arch the mid back, low back, and finally tuck the tailbone in. So going slow and segmentally like that, do a couple more on your own breath rounds. Trying to move one vertebrae at a time here. And take your entire inhale and exhales to move up and down the spine. Let's bring our forearms down to the mat. Make a fist with your left hand and then wrap it with your right hand. Bring your knees out wide a little bit here. So we're gonna do a little bit more shoulder blade work. So let's tone our belly, and then we're gonna lift our shoulders up towards our ears, draw the shoulder blades together, and then draw the shoulder blades down the back, then pull the shoulder blades apart, draw them up towards your ears, shoulder blades together, down the back. Switching directions, pull the shoulder blades together, lift them up towards your ears, press the shoulder blades away from each other, draw them down the back, draw the shoulder blades in together, and then up towards the ears as they remain together. Push the shoulder blades away as they're up by your ears, and then down the back. Come back to a child's pose. And we're going to press our way up to a comfortable seat. Last thing we're going to do here today is a little shoulder rolls and stretches. So let's bring our hands just to a comfortable spot on our knees. Take an inhale in to lengthen through the spine. And exhale out. It's more comfortable to do this from standing. That's totally fine too. You can do it seated in a chair if you want. Go ahead and let your eyes soften and close. Then we're going to draw our chin and tuck it in towards our chest. And then turn off to the right with your head, brushing your collarbone with your chin so that you're looking over your right shoulder. Turn your right ear to your right shoulder, lifting the nose up. Roll the head back behind you, lifting the chin up towards the sky. And then roll that left ear towards the left shoulder. Turn your gaze to the left over your left shoulder. Then bring the chin down, brushing the collarbone as you bring the chin back to the sternum. Going a little slower this time, we're going to brush the sternum or the collarbone, right collarbone, as we turn our gaze to the right. Let the right ear come towards the shoulder as you turn the gaze back towards the front of you. Hold it here. Exhaling deep. And start to roll your head behind you, bringing your gaze up overhead. You can pause here if you want. And then start to roll off to the left side, bringing the left ear towards the left shoulder. Turn your gaze over your left shoulder, and then bring the chin down and brush the left collarbone as you come back to your sternum. Take a nice inhale in here, lengthening through the spine again. Exhale out. Switching directions. We're going to turn to our left this time, bringing the left collarbone, brushing the left collarbone as you turn your gaze to the left and over your left shoulder. Turn your left ear toward your left shoulder so the gaze goes back in front of you. Roll the head behind you. Chin goes up towards the sky, and then roll your right ear to your right shoulder. Turn your gaze over your right shoulder, and then brush your right collarbone as you bring your chin back down towards your sternum. Gaze is facing down. Last time, a little slower. Let's graze that right or left collarbone as we turn off to the left. Hold here. Turn your left ear towards the left shoulder, bringing the gaze back in front of you. Hold in here. So to roll the head back behind you, stopping with your head behind you. Gaze up towards the ceiling. Holding here, nice long spine. And let the right ear go off to the right shoulder. Holding here. Gaze goes down, gaze goes over the right shoulder, and then brush the right collarbone as you bring the chin down towards your sternum. Holding here. Lift your head back up. Bring your hands to heart center. Thanks for joining in on this little 10-minute neck and spine work. Namaste.